friends, Emily back with you, and I got some new Catherine Pooler stuff, some cookies and milk, and the new holiday mugshot stamp set with these adorable sentiments and some matching dies. And I have the new ink colors with an olive and on the lake. How fun is that? And all those go with or those two colors go with this paper along with these other ones I'm showing you here. So I have all this. I'm just going to open up my paper pad. This is how you do it if you don't know how, if it's hard with the plastic. I love that trick. And so I'm just going to show you all these different patterns. There's obviously the cookies and milk. Here's some stripes and some cookie trees, which are super cute, and the sprinkles. I love this pink snowflake one. And then, ooh, this is a really pretty sweater design, and these cute marshmallow snowmans. And this perfect plaid. I love that pink. So for this first one I'm doing, I'm actually just going to be mainly focusing on these new stamps along with the inks, and I'm going to start with my watercolor paper because that's what I do. I'm going to stamp every single image, so every single mug, onto my watercolor paper so I can then cut it out and use my inks to watercolor. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that this is the technique I love to do in order to color my dies. So I'm just putting on a little bit of midnight ink here just to get the image onto that watercolor paper, and using my Misty so I can have a nice precision stamp that looks good. So I'm going to set that aside to dry a little bit, and then I have my dies here, just taking them out of the wiring. And so those, it cut those pieces out perfectly, which is nice. So today I'm actually going to be making mini cards with this. So I'm very excited. You can usually take any die that you have and fold a piece of paper in half and then leave a little spot right there like that. So I'll show you here. I'm going to tape it, but you'll see there's this little opening right here. This is how I made my circle card. And so see right here on the left side of that one as well, there's a little bit of an opening. So I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine, my Sizzix Big Shot, and the paper's folded. So once I take it out of here, I'm going to show you, and I take the tape off, it's going to be like a little baby card, and you can open it. How cute is that? So cute. So that's going to fit. I'm then going to put my image on the front of it, if that makes sense. So here's the cute little snowman one, or I'm so excited to do this. So here I'm just getting the tackiness off the tape by putting the tape on my sweater. If it's ever too sticky, if you ever feel like, okay, my tape is too sticky, I don't want it to rip my paper, etc., just take your tape and put it on your sweater like that a couple times, and it'll reduce that tackiness. So same idea, we're just going to go through all these with the folded paper, leaving a little line at the left side, and running it through your die cutting machine. Because the paper is folded, I like to run it through twice, but I mean, it's just so cute. I can't get over how cute these they're little baby cards. You could also, possibly turn these into like gift tags or something like that if you'd prefer, but I just wanted to show a new way to use these dies. So now I'm going to start using this beautiful On the Lake. Look how pretty that is. Using my inks to watercolor, and if you've not seen me do this, I have plenty of videos where I do this, and I'm just going to go through and just like that, use a little baby paintbrush and paint all the places I need with each color. I kind of start with each color, like my blues first, and then I'll do like my reds, pinks, or whatever. I did a little baby bit of orange there. I didn't want to waste too much ink because all I really needed that for was the snowman's carrot nose. So just going along watercoloring. In order to watercolor, all you do is press your ink pad down onto your craft mat, and you see my super fancy craft mat here. I'm just using a Ziploc bag. So I just use that. But I know Sizzix has a craft mat that I really enjoy, that I actually do use at work at Cherry on Top. So yeah, just going through and painting all the little details. It takes a while, but it ends up with a really nice result. I try not to use too much water when I do this process with the inking, because it can sometimes bleed with the black ink a little bit. So I try to limit, having too much water so it doesn't accidentally blend the black into the colors and create kind of a muddy look. So just going through and watercoloring all my different guys here. I got the reindeer. I was just testing out that brown up at the top there to make sure it wasn't too similar of a brown to these little antlers. And here's that that's sea glass, that really pretty blue. And so I'm just going through with all the little details and coloring them in. I also just made a video on 5 different ways to use your inks. Of course, watercoloring is one of them, but there's so many different ways you can use these Catherine Pooler inks. So you can check that out, which is just full of a lot of great info. Everything that I'm using here today is going to be linked on my YouTube and in my blog. So you can catch all that there if you want any of these colors or any of these awesome new cute holiday products. I'm also putting a little tranquil on Santa's beard and the snowman just to add a little bit more depth. So there are my watercolored images. They look super cute. I love those. So they're ready now to be die cut out. So I'm just die cutting the fronts out like normal, like you would for any other die cut. The little mini cards are to the side there. So just taping these all down to make sure I get a nice precision die cut here, and just going to run it through my Sizzix machine. This is watercolor paper, so it's a little bit thicker. So I always typically run everything through twice anyway, but they pop out super easy. No big deal, even with the thickness of that paper. So the next step here they are. Look how cute. I'm going to end up gluing this onto the front of my card, my mini card base. So that looks so good. But first, I think what I want to do is decorate the inside of my cards. So I have the pretty on the lake and with an olive, and I'm just going to do a little bit of ink blending and stamping for the insides here. I try to ink blend, this is my Misty, and I'm using the sticky mats, which I really love to use for little pieces like this because it's a little harder to, I don't know, it's just harder, to get every detail of it when they're small like this. So I love using my sticky mats for this. And then a good technique is to start your ink blending on the edge there on the side. So I did a little too much on that one before, but this one's looking a little better. So practice makes perfect. Just go through and ink blend, and then that Warm Winter Wishes is going to fit right in there if you can believe it. So that's going to look so cute. And I'm going to do spiced here for this one because this is my reindeer one. So I kind of want it to match, obviously, the outside cover of my cards. I realized my Santa one I did blue and I didn't want that. So I'm just grabbing some cotton candy ink, and I'm going to ink the inside of my Santa one so it matches the front of my card a little bit better. So I'm just going through and ink blending each individual inside of my card. I'm going to use On the Lake again. I just really love this blue. It's such a beautiful deep blue color. But again, with Catherine Pooler inks, I feel like you can make them as dark or light as you wish, really. I mean, really with any inks, the way you ink blend them. So I'm going to use this Warm Winter Wishes stamp here on my snowman one, and then the other stamp says, here's a cup of cheer. So I'm just going to use Rogue on the here's a cup of cheer, so it's a little bit darker than the pink, and just stamping that on the inside of my card. And look how good that looks. Oh, I love it. It's nice and dark. That looks so great. I love that. So for this Warm Winter Wishes one, I do want to do the same thing for my reindeer one here. So I think I'm going to just use the same color. So I'm okay with it getting on the paper like that, like you saw, because obviously I'm just using the same color. So I figured get those out of the way first. Those are easy. But for this Warm Winter Wishes one, I'm using some Versamark to emboss, and I have some of this sample embossing powder for the On the Lake, and it's just, gosh, it's just so pretty, this blue. Making sure I have enough on there. And then I do like to use my Wendy Vecchi Make Art. This is my metal magnetic sheet to emboss. It just makes it easier. For this one, I decided to do white embossing powder. Looks good. I love it. So I'm just going through stamping my insides, and now I get to glue the fronts on. So I'm using some glue so that I can adjust the image if I need to, just because they're so little, itty bitty. And I just want to make sure that, see from the back here, that it's all lined up. So it looks great. So I've went along and did that for all of them, and here are my cards. I just wanted to show you each one. Here's the Santa, and then you can write a little sentiment there on the left side. And here's the snowman. I just love, they're super little. Warm Winter Wishes has a beautiful on the lake embossing powder. And then here's that pretty cup, Warm Winter Wishes with the white embossing powder. And then you could even pop a hole in here and make like a gift tag if you'd prefer, if it's kind of something too little. But I just really love the idea of mini cards. So there's another white embossing powder there. It looks good. Just so cute. I love that one with the gingerbread. And then here's my reindeer with just that rogue colored ink, which just looks so pretty, just pops really well. I have a couple nieces, 5 nieces and nephews, so I'm going to give them these cards for Christmas. And some of them even stand here, you guys. Look at this. Not all of them, but some of the flatter ones, like this one's a little too top heavy with the handle and the candy cane, but the snowman and even the Santa stands up, so you can see him standing up. How cute is that? But that's it, guys. That's how you make a mini card. Thanks for watching.